So apparently I was participating in a TikTok trend whenever I raw dogged my flight from Minneapolis to San Diego. Not sure what I mean by raw dog? Well, your mom knows what it means. Ask her. Just kidding. Yes, it does have a few definitions, but the one I prefer for this video, it's a travel trend that abstains from overpacking, over-preparing, and abstaining from entertainment and distractions on a flight. No movies, no music, no sleep, no headphones. The art of staring straight ahead for 4 hours, and the only thing you're allowed to watch is the flight tracker, if it was on whenever you took your seat. Think Idris Elba in the Hijack series on Apple TV, staring straight ahead for 7 hours, no bathroom breaks. Now, I have to admit, I didn't get the bonus points because I did have a piece of luggage. And I'm telling you, my luggage, my carry-on is packed light. I mean, because that trip was a solid week and I only used half the space because the other half was filled with diapers. Seriously, one of the reasons I pack light is because when I'm traveling as a family, we have a big crowd. 11 of us this last trip. So when I said I'm raw dogging it, it's more because my young kids won't let me get into a movie. They won't let me sleep. They won't let me listen to music. So I just stare ahead, think, and in some ways have accepted my fate. Just kidding. I love being a dad, and in many ways, it has forced me to become a better packer. Because when you're making sure that 7 mini-me's are packing correctly, you find that you got to lead by example. So what are my tips? What are my tricks for packing light as a man? Well, first up, let me share with you this somewhat strange habit I've got whenever I return from a trip. And I know I can't be the only guy that does this, but I do an after-action report. For any of you guys that were in the military, you know what I'm talking about, but I go through my luggage and I look at what did I not use and why in the world did I take it? Now, gentlemen, the first tip to packing light is not to overpack. And the way to do this is to not only examine and make sure every item is justified that you take, but to identify those sneaky items that you think you're gonna need, but you never do. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, that third pair of shoes you just don't need. That bulky sweater that never got worn because you had a hoodie. Now, I know some of you Boy Scouts out there are saying, hey, come on, Antonio, you gotta be prepared. It's better to have more than what you need than not enough. Well, I agree with that if you're going out camping in Alaska. But heading to Legoland in California, yeah, if you need something, you can buy it there as a souvenir. So next up, let's talk packing strategies. So when it comes to bags, I try to choose the smallest bag that's perfect for my needs. Now for me, over the last few years, this has been today's sponsor, Carl Friedrich. Now, Carl Friedrich, of course, has larger check-in bags. I have one of them. I have used it. It's a great bag whenever you are going to check your luggage under the plane. But the bag I've used the most over the last couple years has definitely been their Carry-On X. I've used this carry-on flawlessly multiple times traveling around the world. I know a lot of you guys have been waiting for Carl Friedrich to come out with a bag that's a little bit more affordable. Well, gents, you don't have to wait because now in their core series, they've got a brand new carry-on which is absolutely beautiful. Elegantly designed, meticulously crafted. When you look at the details on this thing, you notice immediately that they paid attention to all the details from the stitching to the build to the construction to the materials used. They use a German engineered Macrolon polycarbonate shell, and in typical Carl Friedrich styling, they made sure to pay attention to the details. We've got vegetable tan leather detailing along with a premium brushed fabric lining on the inside. And the wheels, they use the best, going with the Japanese made Hinmato silent spinner wheels. The bag seals up with dual zip TSA approved combination locks. And personally, when it comes to packing light, I appreciate how the interior features 2 large zipped compartments and 2 narrow zipped pockets. Oh, and did I mention it's incredibly lightweight at 7 pounds, yet it has a capacity of 40.7 liters. And of course, it's compliant with airline cabin size restrictions. Now, gents, over the years, I've talked a lot about Carl Friedrich. I was with him when they started the company years ago, and I've always been impressed with the quality at the price point that they come in. I've seen companies charge 5 times more than what these guys are charging for luggage that, I mean, their stuff is second to none. Previously, I've talked about their briefcases, their beautiful weekenders, the 72-hour backpack, because the reality is, gents, this luggage is timeless, it's elegant, it's not cheap, but it's an amazing deal because this is the luggage you're going to buy once and you are going to use for decades. And I love it how these guys back it up with a great warranty, with a great return policy, and a 100-day trial. Yeah, try the bag for 100 days. If you are not satisfied, then return it. So, gents, to get the best deal on Carl Friedrich, use that link in the description of today's video. Seriously, go check them out. An awesome company, and make sure to use that link to get the best deal on the web. It's not going to be around forever. Awesome company, proud to support them. Now, these next set of tips sound incredibly basic, but don't underestimate them because they're simple. The reality is most men don't do them. They don't pack like this. Therefore, they overpack. Now, the key I'm talking about here is actually planning out your outfits before you take your trip, knowing what you're going to wear each day, and then actually having that clothing laid out. The shirts, the trousers, the shorts, the jackets, knowing everything that you're going to take and seeing it, touching it. Now, the reason that this is important is you get to actually see how an item is going to work with the other pieces in your wardrobe. What you're shooting for here is interchangeability. And in case you're not familiar with the style law of interchangeability, it goes like this. So if you have 4 pairs of shoes, if you have 4 shirts, if you have 4 pairs of trousers, and you have 4 jackets, 16 pieces of clothing. But if they're 100% interchangeable, you have a total of 256 outfits. Now, the reality is a lot of the items we like to wear are not 100% interchangeable. But when you're traveling, and if you want to travel light, you want options. So knowing that, you realize some clothing combinations are a lot better than others. The next key here to making all this work is to stick with certain color palettes for certain items. I know for me, when it comes to trousers, I'm going to go with dark blues, I'm going to go with tans, and grays. Shirts, for the most part, I'm going to stick with blues, I'm going to stick with whites and patterns that include those 2 colors. With jackets, especially my casual jackets, I've got a lot of earth tones. I have browns, I have greens, I have tans. With my sports jackets, again, repeating the earth tones down here, but I also have quite a few blues and grays. Now, of course, you can bring in a variety of different colors and patterns. I'm not saying you have to be boring, but when you're traveling, when you want something that's interchangeable, segmenting the colors of your main wardrobe pieces, your jackets, your shoes, your trousers, your shirts, doing that makes building an interchangeable wardrobe a lot easier. Now, I want to expand on my point earlier because I'm not sure I was clear, but when you choose the smallest bag that's going to suit your needs, that simply means that you understand the law of when you choose too big of a bag, you find things to put into it. You think you got that extra room, and all of a sudden you are lugging around things you don't need to. So by selecting that smaller bag, you give yourself more options because you're having to lug around something that just simply takes up less space. Now, if you find that you can't fit everything you need to take, literally you are trying to compress that bag at the beginning of your trip, it may be the case that you need to level up the size of your bag. But before you do that, make sure that you listen to the next couple tips. So first up, let's talk about shoes. These are easily one of the bulkiest items that you will be packing. So the first hack here is to make sure you wear your bulkiest pair on the flight. And yes, I know this pair is easier, it's going to slip on and off, but from a packing perspective, especially if you want to go light, you want to go with the pair right here that's going to be heavier, that's going to be larger, that's going to take up more space in your bag. Additionally, this shoe right here has a couple bonus features. One, it's actually a packable pair of shoes. So you notice it folds right like that, it condenses really small. Another detail about this shoe, it's a loafer. It can be dressed up, it can be dressed down. You can wear this with a pair of shorts. Yes, nice shorts with maybe a polo, but you can also dress this up by matching it with a sports jacket, a nice pair of chinos, and that same polo or dress shirt. In fact, with most trips I'm taking that aren't more than a week, I'm only taking 2 pairs of shoes. One pair that's going to be casual, that I can work out, I can go for a run in. Another pair that I can dress up, that I can dress down. It's pretty much going to be my go-to when I'm not in ultra casual wear. Now, if you force me to choose a third pair, it's really going to depend on the situation. My last trip, I went out to California, we went out to the beach, we were spending time at the pool. So this pair of flip-flops worked perfectly. And a bonus, it's really easy to pack even right there with these shoes here. Now, another space-saving technique is to make sure you always take a jacket, even if you're going to a warm locale. The reason being, most airports have a climate control system, and once you get on the airplane, it can get pretty cold. In addition, if you've got lots of pockets, guess what? You can stuff those pockets with all the things, all the accessories. You don't even need to take an extra bag with you because you can just simply load up the jacket. It doesn't count as a carry-on. You simply wear this on and you'll have no issue. Now, even if you don't load up the jacket's pockets, jackets can be bulky. They can be heavy. They can just simply, because of the insulation used, they're just garments that take up a lot of space. So how to save space here? Well, pack 2 jackets instead of 1. Wait a minute, 2 jackets instead of 1? How does that work? Let me explain. So this jacket right here is using an insulating material that makes it bulky and gives the jacket the ability to keep you warm, to keep the cold out, to keep the heat in. Now with these other 2 jackets, we have a wind and rain shell, basically a professional looking lightweight rain jacket, while this jacket is a straight up puffer jacket. For insulation purposes, it uses air. And that, gentlemen, is key. Notice this puffer jacket can actually be condensed down to a fraction of its original size. And this one in particular comes with a handy pouch, which allows you to fold it in on itself. Not to be outdone, that rain jacket, as you can see, can easily be condensed and rolled up and fit into a small section in your luggage. I know for me personally, this combination has given me options when I hit the ground. If it's relatively warm, but a little bit of rain, I just simply wear the rain jacket. If it's cold and rainy, I wear the combination. And if it's just cold with no precipitation, I can just wear wear the puffer, and that is key. Understand that these type of jackets, they don't do well whenever they get wet. Now this next tip for packing light, I know some of you guys are going to disagree with, but for me it works, and that is I never take more than 4 pairs of underwear, 4 socks, or 4 shirts. Now I'm not counting my workout shirt, I do take one of those, but all of those items also are quick dry. You see where I'm going with this? Gents, if I'm going to be somewhere for 5 to 6 days, I've got no problems washing my underwear, washing my socks, washing maybe a few shirts in the sink, and then letting them dry. Now the key is quick dry items, so you don't want to go with cottons, you want to go with lightweight performance polos, micromodal underwear, and relatively lightweight socks. And speaking of socks, I actually don't take specific athletic socks. Yes, I'm like my German friends, I do work out in my dark colored socks when I'm traveling because I just don't want to be bothered having to pack a particular pair of sports socks. Also with shirts, I only take one t-shirt, and that is my workout t-shirt. All of my other shirts are going to have a collar, and in general, most of the shirts I'm taking with me are going to be polos. Again, these are usually performance polos that dry quickly, but I can dress them up, I can dress them down, they can be incredibly versatile, and even if it's relatively cool outside, I throw a sweater over them or a sports jacket and I'm good to go. All right, gents, so now let's talk toiletries. So as you can see here, I've got a lot of full-size items. I will tell you, I do not take any of these when I travel. So first up, when it comes to most grooming items, I'm only using these once a week. If my trip isn't more than 10 days, I can probably get away with not cutting my nails without trimming the back of my neck or trimming my nose or ear hairs. By not even taking those items, I save a lot of space. Next up, when it comes to shaving creams, toothpaste, deodorants, all of these, as you can see, are full-size items. There are travel options available, which, as you can see, the size difference, the weight, is significant. And let's face it, a lot of these items are so big you'd actually have to check them because you can't take them as a carry-on. Now I do compromise in some areas. I don't go with a travel deodorant. Instead, I just go with a branded packaging that actually makes something smaller. And almost everything, if you look, comes in a travel size, from hairbrushes to styling cream. Now, do you need to go with the travel size with everything? Well, in some cases, it doesn't make much of a difference. But don't be fooled by size. Pay attention to weight as well. This razor weighs almost 10 times more than this one. And even with fragrances, I know you may find this hard to believe, I never travel with a full bottle. Instead, I take samples, travel size containers, or travel atomizers that can be refilled and used multiple times. And lastly, don't sleep on solid state grooming products. These are items like body bars that can be used safely on the face and as shampoo, or shaving soaps that comes a solid bar and are made to provide lubrication whenever you're shaving. And one of the more interesting finds is solid toothpaste. Yeah, the way this works is you chew up a tablet, you brush your teeth, and you don't have to take any toothpaste with you. In fact, the only problem with these things is they taste kind of like mint, so you almost think that they're candy. But don't worry, they don't taste that good. Oh, and another great source for travel size items that didn't mean to be travel size items, monthly subscription companies. These guys try to size things in a way that you'll have enough for 30 days, but for you, for travel purposes, it's perfect because it's all going to be under 100 mil. Oh, and let's talk about bags. To this day, I still use Ziploc. Quart size is perfect. However, DOP kits are great too, especially if they are collapsible. Now, I will say if you're going to be traveling anywhere for a little bit longer of a time period, I do like a DOP kit that opens up and has a hanging hook. This just simply makes it easier whenever you're traveling in a place that has very little counter space, or the people you're traveling with take up all that counter space and you just simply want to have your place where your things, well, can be found. Now, getting back to clothing, this one should go without saying, but check the weather, because if you're going out to California, you think it's going to be hot, you're going to pack shorts, but when you see it's unseasonably cold, they're actually going to be getting rain. Well, this is all predictable, so make sure to look at the weather report, know what you're getting into. Another tip for my American guys out there is don't over-rely on jeans. Jeans are heavy, they're bulky. Look to a pair of chinos or tropical weight wool trousers. One, they are much more lightweight. They're going to take up less room in your luggage, and on top of that, they're much more stylish, and when you get used to them, they are much more comfortable. I also don't like to iron when I travel, and let's just face it, wrinkles can ruin an outfit, so I try to choose jackets, I try to use shirts, everything that is wrinkle resistant. Now, what about rolling clothing? Well, you want specific details on that? Well, guys, I've got a more detailed video in which I break that out, and yeah, go check it out. I break out rolling clothing, how to do it, how to make sure that your jackets, how to make sure everything fits in there, because rolling is the way to go when it comes to packing. So guys, check it out. Solid video. I think you're going to enjoy it. Boom, right here. Oh yeah.